Hi, I'm Steven, founder of Sleeping Rooster Studios, where we focus on creating fun co-op games. What you see in the background here is our first game, Gnomes and Giants, that's still in development. Now on to the video. As you all know, gamers only want one thing, and that's loot. Lots of loot. Loot that makes you unstoppable, that turns you into an unkillable demon god. As I was saying, loot is a great reward and motivation for players, so naturally we wanted lots of loot in our game. But what kind of loot should we give the player? The simplest kind would just increase the player's stats, like perhaps plus 10 health, or plus 2 movement speed, or plus 1 damage. So let's go with that. Let's try adding one of the easiest and simplest to understand items, the almighty plus 1 damage. All right, here we're just gonna add a new attribute and we're gonna call it attack, since we already have a damage attribute that controls when you get hit, how much damage you can take. So we just have an attack one for how much damage to add to the attack. And here's the post gameplay effect execute, which comes with the gameplay ability system. This happens after every effect, whether it's damaging an enemy or taking a swig of your potion. These are all considered effects, and this code runs after those effects happen. And here we're just making sure that we add on our attack attribute from our source, so our originating effect caster, to that damage. Next, we're going to create a data asset for the item that we want to set up that's going to give us the plus 1 attack. Let's just call it something fantastical like Goblin Tooth, and let's go ahead and create the unique ID as well as the other properties like the images. I can just do placeholder and description. And the most important thing though is that we have the gameplay effect that is going to give us the plus 1 attack modifier. And over here, we're just going to set that right here as an add to our attack. And then we set that gameplay effect there. And then if we go pick up the Goblin Tooth, pick that up, and then we have to go all the way back over to where we can fight an actual boss because there's nothing to hit in the base. If we go over to the boss, then we can see that we hit our breakpoint for adding our attack, and we are doing 4 instead of the usual 3. So that's a good sign, and it does show up as 4s now instead of 3. So the gnome usually does 3 attack, but now with the Goblin Tooth, we're doing 4. Thank you, Coder Steven. So now that we have plus 1 damage, what if I wanted plus 2 or plus 3 or plus 5 damage? How would we do that? So first we would need to read data from our item and then pass that to our gameplay effect. So let's try to make an item that gives plus 5 attack. So in Unreal, there's something called gameplay tags, and the gameplay ability system relies heavily on these tags and allows the user to pass data through these tags to the gameplay effects. However, my item itself doesn't expose any of that since I wrote this data asset and didn't put a field for any tags. So that's what you see me doing here. I'm basically making it so that the item knows what tags to give the gameplay effect through this new struct I made, fGameplay effect with tag data. And now if we look at the data asset, there's a drop down with tag data that I can pass through. So if I go hit the tree giant again, we're actually doing plus 5 damage, 3 for 8 damage. And I can change this to anything I want here. I can do 100. And if we go, we can actually look at this target dummy I added and attack that instead of the tree giant. Um, and I just need to buy the item, and we call it Ogre Tooth. It's stronger than Goblin Tooth. And now we're doing, see, 103 damage to the target dummy. So, yeah, we can change this very easily. Flat stats are cool and all, like +1 attack or +5 attack, but in many games such as Risk of Rain or Rapid Steel, they seem to prefer a more nuanced approach of adding percentages like plus 1.5% attack speed, or items that have a more nuanced effect, such as Rapid Steel's Dragonhead Spear, where your primary is 40% more powerful but has the negative side effects of having a longer cooldown and you move a little bit slower. Their loot looks a lot more like side grades that you optimize to become upgrades rather than a strict upgrade. That's a fair point. So why don't we try making an item that is a bit more complicated? Let's make an item with the Berserker effect, where if you are missing more health, you do more damage. Okay, we've done this twice already, but now we're doing it for a third time. Now we're making another trinket, and this time we're gonna call it, uh, who cares? It doesn't matter. But what does matter is this magnitude calculation function that we're writing to, that basically captures how much max health and current health we have. There's a subtraction there, so we know how much missing health we have. And then we multiply that by a percentage that we pass through the gameplay tag, like 5%, 6%, 7%. And then that is the output that gets added to our attack modifier. So that's the effect there. That's the Berserker effect, where you do more damage when you have less health. Now, the one really important thing is that we have to set this gameplay effect to infinite, because otherwise the attributes will not be recalibrated after they change. They will not be recalculated. So your Berserker effect of doing damage will be the same no matter how your health changes. So we obviously want it to increase when you lose more health, when you're missing more health. So we want it to be an infinite effect, so it keeps getting recalculated. Here's a demonstration. So I've equipped the Soldier's Bite, which is our Berserker effect item, and as well as a potion, so I can test healing. So once I've taken some artificial damage, I'm now doing double my damage. I'm now doing 6 instead of 3. And then when I pop a potion to heal it up, I should be going back to 3 damage. All right, now these items are finally complete thanks to Nat, my lovely fiance and artist, and they'll be added to our giant loot tables to be looted by you all in the next play test. So if you want to join in on that, feel free to click on the Discord link below and subscribe if you like to see more devlogs like this one. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.